Hello and welcome to Self-Power Now, where empowering women share their stories and advice about life, work, happiness, love, and success. I'm your host, Debbie Giussoni, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. So sit back and enjoy the show. Today, I have the double pleasure of having two guests on together, Jarocki and Stephanie Markese, who are both former NFL cheerleaders turned entrepreneurs, working mothers, and best friends. They are co-leaders of NextPath Career Partners, created to help businesses find the best talent. And they're also the co-creators and hosts of the podcast. Wait for it. This is a great title. Live Bold and Boss Up, where they have meaningful conversations with decision makers in all fields. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. That was a great intro.
I know. I try to keep it uplifting, because that's what this show is about. It's self-power now. But let's talk about your cheerleading days. I know that's, quite a way away and, in the past, but I think, what woman doesn't want to be a fly on the wall behind the scenes there? Although a lot of women may think, cheerleading is objectifying, but you two found it quite empowering. How so?
Oh, well, that's a great question. So I'll go first. I mean, it honestly changed my life. The group of women that I cheered with, I got to meet 36 women, just like Ashley, like with her personality and the motivation, empowerment.
Is that where you both met? You're both on the same team together?
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, it was just so motivating and inspiring to me being around such amazing women. We all had to have either a full-time job or be full-time students. So it's not like we were just doing it on the side. It was like we had to be working or full-time students and always continuously learning and bettering ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what made you get, Ashley, what made you get into cheer? Why did you want to do it in the first place? It's not something, most of us think about if we're going to school for more of a career path.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I personally, I've been doing ballet, tap, jazz ever since I was little. So
me too.
Really?
Not ballet, tap jazz.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. And to me, it just made sense to, I've always thought, okay, if I could do dance as like a separate thing, or an extra thing, that's winning. Cause I love that. It's kind of like almost meditating for me when I'm out on the dance floor or whatever the case is.
I get that. I totally get that. I love dance. I love it.
It just made sense to kind of carry it on because in our era, when we cheered, it was really more dance, not stunts or, gymnastics. It was
now it's like unbelievable. Dance. I mean, the flips and the pyramids and all this other stuff. But yeah, I liked it more when it was dance too.
Mm-hmm. And also for me, it was being involved in the community because we did tons of events, tons of charity, philanthropic events. So that was another big part of it. Is I was born and raised here in the Tampa Bay area and cheering for the Bucks, and that was just kind of what I wanted to be involved in, and kind of
it was part of your everyday life,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why not take it forward? And taking it forward to flash forward to today. I mean, you said you were going to school. Were you going to school to get involved in this type of business that you're in now, the career business where you're helping people, find their careers and helping companies? No, you're both shaking your head. No. So, okay, there had to be some steps along the way. What were those?
Yeah. I'll go first. Yeah. I went to school. I always wanted to be a dentist. So that's what I went to school for. And then after 7 years in the dental industry, realized I needed something that would allow me to grow and where I didn't have that ceiling over my head. And, as a dental assistant, I was just kind of capped at, this is what you're going to make. This is what you're going to do forever. And I wasn't happy with that. So I got into recruiting and I loved it because I could, really make my own hours. I had more flexibility and I could make a lot more money. And, it was uncapped potential there.
Well, that's quite a segue from dental work to recruiting, but
Right.
I guess it's all people related, right? You know,
Right.
dental work is a lot of people relating too. How about you, Ashley?
For me, I was going to college and I decided, hey, I need a real job while I'm doing this. So I applied to be an executive assistant at this software company. And I didn't get the job because I was like, hey, I just want to be part-time. I'm a student. And they ended up calling me back for a recruiting assistant where they would allow me to be part-time. So I literally fell into, well, not literally, but I fell into
The
recruiting
universe gave you an opportunity. That's how I look at it. And you recognized it.
I took it and I was like, wow, this is great. I'm offering people money to work here and they're feeling proud and, we're elevating them. And it was just a job that, you love to do.
And how did the two of you then get together? Because it seems like you both went kind of on your separate paths after cheerleading, and now you're together since how long with this business?
We're going on 4 years.
Wow.
I know. So I was in staffing with another company and Ash was in HR with like staffing for corporate on the corporate side.
Yes.
And I got together with some of our other partners. We were going to create NextPath. And I'm like, I have the perfect person that would be amazing. She would fit in great, and talk to Ashley. And it just like very organically and naturally happened very easily. And
I am like forever indebted to this chick right here because I'm
this
so
chick.
grateful.
I love how she puts that.
Thought of me.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I mean, I love to see women coming together and, complementing each other with their skill set. Did you also get along really well when you were cheerleading?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We were always,
so it wasn't this kind of catty environment that we sort of think about from the outside.
No, yeah, there's no, it's really, I feel like for us in our environment, it was a sisterhood. It was a sorority. So no matter if you cheered before us or after us, there's this connection.
Yeah,
And it's unfortunate you mentioned, cattiness, right? And I was just having the conversation with one of my clients the other day, and it's like a lot of women, maybe in the past, like don't necessarily, lift other women up. And I don't know if in our experience, we all lifted each other up and really empowered each other to do what we do best. And no, it's really
well, I think you're right in bringing that a point up, because in many industries it's the same. I mean, there's women who like to lift people up, and then there's women who like to put people down. And really, I think that you get a lot farther when you lift people up, and that's what this show is all about. What about skill sets that you learned early on in cheerleading or dance or being part of a team that you were able to transfer over to the business setting that you're in now?
Yeah, a couple things to me pop up immediately. So you have your uniform, whatever that may be, your tutu if you're doing ballet, your whole uniform if you're cheering, right? We had a million different pieces. We had a survival kit, right, if you will, of Advil or safety pins or just extra things that you never know when you're going to need.
You don't want a wardrobe malfunction, right?
Right. No, you don't want to have that. So you have to learn to remember all of these pieces. And I think one of the most impactful things I learned, and I think I'm looking at you because I think you learned this too when we were cheering. If you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. And that was really impactful. And I think it has stuck with us.
I love that. I'm always the 15-minute early girl. Mm-hmm. I hate having the stress of being late. And I imagine in your field, because you're looking for talent for organizations, timing is of the essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
What about health and wellness habits? We talk a lot about that on this show. I'm sure you were in your prime condition when you were cheerleading. I mean, exercising every day, much more than even the regular person. And you had to stay healthy and you had to, look good. And you both look fantastic. I don't know how old you are, but you both look fantastic.
Thank
What
you.
kinds of health and wellness habits did you learn there that you can now bring into your life? Because now you're juggling your business. You both have kids. How many kids do you have each?
2 each.
2 each. And how old?
Mine are 5, almost 6 and 8.
Mine are 6 and 9.
Oh my gosh. It's like you're living parallel lives here.
I
know. How fun is that? How far away do you live from each other?
15
like, can
minutes,
you walk?
Not
can you
even.
Walk? Okay.
We should be able to walk to each other's houses.
Well, you can bike.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you've got the business, you've got kids. You obviously look great for anyone who's might be watching this on YouTube. How do you take care of yourself? How do you do your self-care, and what's really important to you?
Right. I think just taking care of yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually as well. I feel like they're all equally important. And
that's
feel
music to my ears. That's what I talk about all the time. Yeah. It's
absolutely.
Not just about the physical. Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like with cheerleading, it did give me kind of a sense of all those things when before I didn't really focus on, taking care of myself. I was young. I was in my 20s having fun. And
comes naturally, right? It's just, you can eat like a whole cake and it doesn't matter.
It really did force us to focus on, having a well-balanced life because we had so much stuff going on and just taking care of ourselves. I think that was like the most important, and having like that focus of, all those 4 things, putting them all into balance, and they're all equally important.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Ashley? What do you do today that helps you take care of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Steph 100% on all of those areas. I try to teach my kids, you kind of are what you eat, which means a whole lot more to me than when my mom shared that with me when I was little. But just making sure that you're nourishing your body with healthy foods is really important, because I don't perform as well, whether I'm taking a call or running, if I eat a hamburger versus, spinach and broccoli and all that fun stuff. So
then you need like a little nap midday when you do that.
Right.
Midday.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that burger, but it doesn't love
everything
me
in
sometimes.
moderation, like not before a podcast though, right? Not before you can be interviewing. What about exercise? Like, what do you guys do? What do you gals do for exercise?
I love me some CrossFit. That's what I do.
Okay.
Most.
So you go to a gym like on a set time and you do it no matter what.
Yeah, it's just nice having someone tell me what to do for a change. Like, okay, here's your workout, and then you're working out with other people. So then you kind of compete in who's maybe running faster, or who's lifting more. So it's exciting.
You like the competition. What about you, Stephanie? What do you do for working out?
Same. I mean, I love the gym. Ash and I will actually go together sometimes on our lunch break, and we'll go work out. And I love, combination weights, cardio, yoga. So, a little bit of everything, but I try to work out at least 5 days a week and just focus on being active, whether it's golf or whether it's just walking or going to the gym.
That's a good point. We've done golf a lot more lately together.
I tried that a while ago. I'm not sure it's my favorite. I like something a little bit more active, but I think, you two are kind of like me in the sense that you learned and you liked exercise and physical movement from when you were young. And so it's easy to kind of incorporate that. For me, it's always been like integral in my life. If I don't work out 5 or 6 days a week, I feel like crap, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I just don't feel good. I feel like I'm just like a big mush, So it's really hard for people to just take that first step to get started, right? Once they get started, then it's easy. But for me, I've been so lucky because my mother used to exercise. I used to watch her, and I used to exercise and I always really loved exercising. So that has been like a real, easy thing in my life. What hasn't come easy that I've learned more later in life, as you were saying, Stephanie, is, you need to take care of not only the physical, but the body and mind too. So, and the spiritual and the emotional. And so the spiritual practice, like where, maybe that's yoga or meditation, and I'll ask you two what it is for you. But for me, learning how to meditate when I was this like type A personality was really, really hard. And I did not want to give myself a break. I just wanted to just learn it and be perfect at it. And meditation, like yoga, is one of those things where you're never really going to be perfect at it. You just have to be committed to it, whether that's 5 minutes a day or 20, and just give yourself that break, that where you feel larger than yourself, where you connect to the universe, where you connect to all there is. What do you two do? Do you meditate? You mentioned yoga, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm. Yoga is something that I love to do. I love hot yoga, and I love that just time for myself to focus on me. And then meditation is something we talk a lot about in our podcast, because it's something that we're always trying to work on. I'm always trying to do it better, or
it's a practice. You don't have to work on it. It's just a practice. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're constantly, talking about that and trying to practice that in our lives.
Right. And another way that I've kind of tried to implement meditation, like where it's not just sitting down or not just in yoga, I've tried to implement that when I'm running or if I'm training for a run.
Runner's high. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cause I'm just there. What else do you think about? Right. I'm just trying to kind of like, it's a different type of meditation, right? I guess I'm not thinking about, making money, or I'm not thinking about, how to be a better mom in that moment. I'm thinking about how to keep my body going and keep doing that physical activity that I'm doing, keep mentally trying to keep that going. So that's kind of, I guess, another area that I was like, oh, that's kind of, I'm kind of meditating right here, and it's keeping me going.
I'm so glad you brought that up for our listeners, because people think meditation is, I have to sit cross-legged and chant Om with my, legs crossed or whatever. But that's not what meditation is about. What meditation is about is just being present. And what you described right now, Ashley, about, being in that kind of runners and focusing on, what's the next step? I don't want to break my ankle here, so I need to be focused on where I'm stepping, on what I'm doing, on my breath. That's being present. And that's what meditation helps you do, is be present and stop thinking about, what do I have to do tomorrow or the next hour or the next minute, or what did I do, or what did I regret that I did, or shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of thing. Meditation is all about being present. So whatever it is for you that helps you be present, that's a spiritual practice in and of itself. And for some people, they would prefer more sitting down or listening to music, something more passive, or maybe even praying, if they have a religious background, whatever it does and praying is also another way to keep you present, right? Because you're focusing on whatever that prayer is, that mantra, that those words are, and you kind of just going within and being present. So that's so good. And then there's the other part of, juggling life, which is your mind, right? We talked about the physical and the spiritual. You guys, I do not have kids. I've had dogs along the way. So I've opted for the 4-legged variety of kids. But I'm always in awe of women like you who have especially young kids, because they need so much attention. Young kids, and you're working and you're doing your podcast, and the mind is constantly going. How do you stay sane, and do you feel sane at the end of the day?
No, we're not.
And you're okay. And you have to be okay with that,
She's
right?
gonna smack me over here.
But yeah, I wonder the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I have it all together sometimes, or I feel like I'm all over the place.
But that's okay. Like, what's normal?
Right. That is your norm. I mean, that is your norm while you have young kids, which will change, I'm sure, when they go into school, and then it'll change again as they get older or they're in college. There's always going to be something to keep your mind distracted with, as long as you have some sort of practice where you can go back within and say, okay, this is, me time. But I just, for women like you who are juggling so much, I think it's so empowering for other women to hear, hey, you don't get it right every day either. You feel, sometimes like, you just can't go on anymore. What are some of do you have any, like, what's your go-to for a bad day? Is it chocolate? Is it massage? What is it?
I think it depends on what the bad day is. Like if it's work, then my kids are a great reliever of that. And they make me forget about work, right? What's the true meaning? What am I really doing all this for? So it really depends on where the bad day is. And then because we have so many things going on, there's so many other things to be grateful for and thankful for. And that's probably what Steph was going to say. I'll let you go.
Yeah, gratitude, the ticket to everything. Gratitude. I love that you brought that up. What about you, Stephanie?
I mean, everything Ash just said, like, yes, I love it. Exercise is another one. Like if I'm at home and it's the weekend and I'm like, I just need to get out of here for a little bit, I'll go to the gym or go for a walk and work out. And I just need to have a little bit of quiet time. So that's, one of the things, on the opposite side, whenever I'm at home with the kids, then, that's what I do. Or even like talk to your girlfriends or, call someone on the phone and have a great conversation.
You call Ashley, right?
Yes.
Do you guys get tired? I mean, you must spend a lot of time together because you've got the kids the same age. It's sort of like a marriage, right? You're both, you're working and playing together, right?
Love it.
Do you love it? You love it. Do you ever need a break from each other?
Well, there's so many things that we do differently too. There's like, even though we go to work together, there's like a million meetings that Steph's in that I'm not in. So there's days when we don't even see each other because we're just working.
And you're both working from your homes, right?
No, we're in the office.
We sit right next to each other, but
so you see each other, but you don't really see each other. Right. I get it. What do you love about what you're doing right now about placing people in the right career or the right job? What gives you what gives you the high? How do you get that runner's high, so to speak, in your job?
I mean, we're changing people's lives. We have people that reach out, they lost their job or they're looking for that next step in their career, and we're able to be a part of that journey. And I have candidates that I've placed years and years ago, and I still keep in touch with them. You develop a relationship with them and you become friends, and you're now a part of their journey, and they'll share their stories with you, and you get to hear about their promotions and all this different exciting things with them at work. And we help that happen. And to me, it's so rewarding to be a part of that and to help a company fill gaps and needs that they have as well, and complete projects and goals. It's very rewarding just to see all of it happen on all different sides of the spectrum.
Right. And what about the work that you do individually with people? It's sort of very therapeutic, both for them and for you. What do you think are the biggest pitfalls for people when they come to you and they're looking for something, whether or not they already know what that type of job is, and maybe they think they know the right job, and maybe you think otherwise? What are the biggest pitfalls that you help them with?
There's a lot.
So people come with a lot of pitfalls, right?
There's a lot of interesting things we could share for sure. I think one is, sometimes people come to us and they're like, hey, I want a management role. Okay, well, what does that mean to you?
And have you ever managed before, right?
Right.
Big question.
Yeah. And I would say too, like sometimes people can get so excited, or this is their dream job, and then maybe they don't get it, or it's dealing with the ups and downs of the job too. You develop this relationship with the people, and then all of a sudden you have to tell them that they weren't selected for this job, or someone else got it, or give them like, some not so positive feedback. Sometimes that's very difficult. So there are,
and we've all been there, we've all been turned down. We've all been rejected in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in our career or job. And I always tell people, I always encourage them and say, well, you got to put your best foot forward, of course. But I also, if something doesn't come through, I really am a firm believer, and I know this sounds Pollyanna, that it just wasn't meant to be. Right. Mm-hmm. That particular job just wasn't meant to be. And if that didn't come through, something better, more aligned will come through for you. Absolutely. And I know sometimes people aren't open to hearing that because they had their heart set on something. But as soon as you, and this is a good conversation about detaching, right? In life, about detaching yourself from particular outcomes. Like, it's great to have goals. It's great to have an action plan. But if you're attached to every step of that and every route, and attached to exactly what that outcome is, then you actually crowd out maybe some better opportunities. Do you feel that way?
Yes.
100%. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. You don't need to get it, completely attached to one thing. Right. And as a matter of fact, that's one thing that we try to do with our candidates is share as many jobs as they're a fit for, or as many jobs as they are interested in, and have them, kind of connect and interview with many jobs. Right. So you have a lot of different opportunity.
Did you ever have someone come to you and say, okay, here's my skill set, and this is exactly what I want to do? And then after you talk to them, you realize, oh my gosh, they should be doing X, Y, Z, which is completely different than what they thought. Because some people are so myopic, they don't really even realize where their skill set can transfer to something else that might be much more aligned. And have you had that experience? Can you talk about some examples?
I feel like you're the queen of that.
Yeah. And I have probably said that to people before. Like, do you know what you would be really great at is sales? Because, just their personality, and maybe they don't have that, belief in themselves, or they'll be like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. And I'm like, no, it's about relationships. So I've told that to people before, because I see, some of their strengths that maybe they don't see, or, in conversation. And over time, I get to know them better. And I have an opportunity that comes up, and I reach out to them and be like, hey, I know you weren't really thinking about this, but you check a lot of the boxes, and I think you would be really good at it. So just opening their eyes to maybe see that they can do something else.
She did that to me. She was like, Ash, you would be good in sales. And I was like, no, I don't do sales. I don't know what
I don't know why sales has such, I got my career started in sales after college. I don't know why it has such a bad rep, but I did B2B sales in the computer industry, and then in the media industry and advertising in B2B publications. And it was a fascinating experience. And I did it for a long time and moved up in management. And I always said that sales 101 should be like a required course in high school, because it helps you in so many other areas in life. It helps you, just show up and present yourself in the right way. It helps you have confidence. It helps you talk to people and be able to relate to people, because what are we here for? It's all about relating to people, unless you're, hanging out on an island all by yourself, right? You're always going to have to relate to people, even if it's your family or your kids, or get ideas across. Say your husband wants to do one thing and you want to do another that weekend. And, it's good to have a sales background for those moments. But I just think sales is something that we all need to do a little bit better at, and it would help in life no matter what you do.
I agree. Sales is about relationships, and we can all improve on that and do better.
Right.
Yeah. What about your podcast? Okay. Live Bold and Boss Up. I said in the beginning, I really love the title. first of all, how did you think of that title? I wish I would have thought of it, but it came out and you launched it right during the beginning of COVID, right? 2020, right?
Yeah.
So what do you mean what does it mean? What does that title mean to you?
So, I mean, for us, it was kind of funny going through all of the titles. Actually, one of the runner-up titles that we had had recently been taken. So at least
Oh,
we know we're on the right path with titles. But this just made sense to us because we wanted it to be fun. We wanted it to be informative but fun. So it turned into a professional and personal development podcast. And we launched it in COVID time because we were having similar conversations with all of our candidates and all of our clients. And
yeah,
they
there's a
wanted
lot
to
of
know,
job shifting during that
right,
time. Even now, a lot of job shifting still based on the experience people had in COVID and kind of reevaluating, what are my priorities? What do I really want to do? And some of them in a forced situation to change, right?
right. So, I
Yeah.
mean, we decided, okay, let's push this content out to the masses so that, well, one, we're not repeating ourselves over and over again. And then people can email in and have
Mhm.
questions and we can respond. And then we started interviewing entrepreneurs and CEOs and hearing their stories and learning from their mistakes. And
Mhm.
it's just been really refreshing and fun. And we just try to like really enjoy and connect the connection with people.
Right, right. And so what kinds of people do you interview? Entrepreneurs, CEOs, who else?
We've interviewed some account executives. We've interviewed some like independent, like mothers who have a job on the side. We interviewed an actress, all different sorts of people because they all have a different story and a journey and things that they've learned that they can share that anyone could benefit and learn from.
Yeah, and that's why I love doing my podcast too, Self Power Now, because my thing is I'm interviewing empowering women like yourselves. And I feel that they can empower so many people, particularly women, with their stories. And in some cases, women that have a specific skill set with their expertise as well to how to and how to live their, how they live their life or how they counsel others live their life to be happier and more successful and wealthier, and you're doing the same thing. I mean, like Live Bold and Boss Up it's such a great title. How do you two and I would say Live Bold and Boss Up is really what gives you your self power, right? That's what I'm talking about, self power, where it comes from within and it just like exudes out of you, and you become this shining light because you've got so much self awareness and self love, and also not attached to outcomes, and be able to just bring your authentic self to the table wherever you are, whether that's a job interview or a podcast or friends or family. How did the two of you think you live bold and boss up the most?
Wow. That's a good question. I feel like, I mean, every day I have to constantly remind myself to do that, to live bold and boss up,
Hmm.
make that call, do something that gets me out of my comfort zone. Cause I believe that that's how we
Yes.
grow.
Yes, I love
And
that.
that's, one reason why we chose this title is because, we all should constantly be doing that so we can grow and become better and
Mhm.
help others. So yeah, every day I try to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I don't know. There's just so many things that I thought came naturally to others. And having these conversations with these leaders, you realize, oh, okay, that comes naturally to me. Okay, I need to like recognize that and be grateful for that. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely days where I am like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Live bold and bossing up. Right, right. I have to
You have to
remind
remind
myself.
yourself. Do you have a little
Yeah.
sticky? It's good to have a sticky on your computer screen, just have the sticky and
Oh yeah.
say,
I
live bold and
have.
boss up. Come on.
Yeah. No, we have our vision boards at our desk, and I've got little sticky notes like, oh, I should have brought it in to share. It's like, talks about just not, there's a couple of sayings that I have on there that I don't remember. They are so good. Topic, yeah. Just little sayings up just to remind me, you know, just to, hey, you know, it's going to come to you. Like, just want it, put it out there in the universe, and then just forget about it. Don't dwell on it, right? Let it come to you.
And bossing up is different than being bossy. You two are not bossy, but bossing up is really what I would consider being in your own, you know, self-power, boss it up and recognize your own self-power, as opposed to bossing up. We used to say in sales, there was a very fine line between being assertive and being aggressive. And you never want to cross that line in being aggressive. And I think that kind of goes with any kind of relationship, whether you're dealing with clients or prospective job seekers, that you do want to be assertive, but never aggressive, where you're kind of controlling someone or trying to take over or bossing them around or telling them exactly what to do, because that never comes out well. And it, you know, the outcome for that is never really positive either.
Right. And you might not want to work with those individuals if you feel like you have to get aggressive, right?
Or if they're getting aggressive with you, right?
Right.
I mean, you get to a point in life where you're like, there's only certain kind of people I want to work with. I got to that years ago, and it's so freeing when you can say, nah, I don't think so on that person. You know, have you had that experience with people where you're like, nah, you're not the right fit for us? It's sort of like dating, right? Nah, you're not the right fit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's certain people I feel like you mesh really well with, and you're on the same kind of energy wavelength. And then there's some people where you're just
like
not.
The three of us, right?
Right. Exactly. And so I wasn't always able to recognize that, but I feel like, you know, more recently I've been able to recognize, okay, you know what, maybe this client will be better off with this person because they might get along better. And then overall, they're going to be getting better service and better candidates, better relationships. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
And
and I think it's like a woman's thing too, is like, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We, you know, and sometimes that dissuades us from being more authentic and more true, which if we are, we're actually helping that person. So sometimes you just have to learn how to say, no, this is not going to work, and here's the reason why. But it's nothing about, you know, that person is bad or you're bad. There shouldn't be any bad feelings. It's just, and this works, you know, for relationships too, right? It's very difficult for women sometimes to get out of relationships that aren't a good fit because they don't want to tell the partner, yeah, this isn't a good fit. It's not going to work. I used to have a friend who did a lot of she was single. She was doing a lot of Match.com dating. And, you know, kind of what you guys do is sort of like dating. You put people together, right? With companies. So it's sort of like that. And she got to a point where she used to say that, I know in the first 10 minutes, you know, meeting someone at a cafe over a cup of coffee or whatever, I know in that first 10 minutes if that's going to be a fit. And I basically just say, you know, you're a very nice person, but I don't think this is going to fit. Thank you. It's not a good fit for me. And not have to even think about explaining herself anymore. And I thought, wow, that is so empowering to be able to do that. And I imagine that you guys are doing that a lot in your field as well.
Yeah.
Right. We have to. And I would say our clients need to too. And I think it's a skill that a lot of people should work on or, you know, pay attention to, because, you know, that it is very empowering and freeing once you start doing that.
Yeah. One last question for the both of you. What are you going to do today to get into your self-power? What's on the agenda? Anything fun that you can share?
Well, this week.
Well, tomorrow count.
What do you got on your agenda that's going to really make you feel good?
Go ahead.
So we are going to Nashville tomorrow. And so tonight we'll probably be like just preparing and getting ready, all excited. We've been excited for this trip for a while. We're going to Nashville with some of our partners and spouses. and we're just going to have a fun weekend.
I hear it's such a great town to do that with.
Yeah. And we have no work planned. We're just going to have fun. We have dinners. We are going to the Lightning game. It's just going to be a great time. Just to, unwind and have fun.
Have like authentic connections with each other and just like really enjoy being like in person.
That's good. You two sound like you have just the perfect balance. You've figured out what works for you. And that's just very, very empowering. And I hope it's empowering for our listeners. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
For your presence, for your insight, for your beauty, for everything. And if you'd like to connect with Ashley, Stephanie, or their company, you can find those links on the show page on selfpowernow.com/podcast. And while you're there, take a break and listen to more episodes. I wish you all a wonderful day and come back and join us again sometime.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Self Power Now. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, follow it on your favorite podcast platform, and join our community on selfpowernow.com and receive 3 free happiness gifts. And while you're there, if you're looking for more ways to be happy, healthy, peaceful, and loved, check out my books and new online courses. Until next time, this is Debbie Jasoni wishing you self-power now.